The earth cooled, volcanoes roared, spewing molten rock and ash into the sky. From the ashes of creation, life emerged, resilient and determined to thrive in the harshest conditions. Among the many creatures that arose, wolves stood out, their presence commanding respect and awe. They were cunning, strong, and hungry for power, their instincts finely tuned for survival and dominance. Their howls echoed through the early forests, a testament to their growing dominance and unyielding spirit. They were not the biggest beasts, but they were the smartest. Wolves understood strategy. Packs began to form, each member playing a crucial role. Each pack had its territory, its hierarchy, meticulously maintained and fiercely defended. A strict code governed their lives, ensuring order and cooperation within the pack. Alpha wolves ruled with an iron paw, their authority unquestioned and their leadership vital to the pack's success. Dissent was met with swift punishment, maintaining the delicate balance of power and unity. Wolves thrived in this system, their cooperation and intelligence ensuring their continued prosperity. Other creatures learned to fear them, recognizing the wolves' prowess and the threat they posed. As centuries passed, wolves grew bolder, their ambitions expanding beyond mere survival. They craved more than just survival. They desired control, seeking to dominate the lands and creatures around them. Their eyes fell on the fertile lands held by other creatures, lands ripe for conquest and exploitation. Sheep, with their wool and their gentle nature, became their primary target, an easy prey for the cunning wolves. The wolves saw an opportunity to exploit, their sharp minds devising strategies to outwit and overpower their prey. The wolves, with their sharp teeth and sharper minds, were poised to reshape the world, their ambitions knowing no bounds. They would build their empire on the backs of the weak. This was their ambition. This was their promise. This was their threat, a new era of dominance. The age of the wolf was dawning, a time of power and supremacy where the strong would rule and the cunning would thrive. The Iron Paw, they called him, a name that struck fear into the hearts of all who heard it. He was the alpha of alphas, a white wolf of immense size and cunning. His presence alone commanded respect and fear. His eyes, like chips of ice, saw everything and everyone as a tool for his ambition. Nothing escaped his cold, calculating gaze. He united the wolf packs under his banner. Through sheer force of will and unmatched strength, he brought them together. The Iron Paw spread terror. He demanded absolute obedience. He despised weakness and crushed any who dared to defy him. He saw the sheep, the rabbits, the deer, all as inferior. To him they were nothing more than prey, existing only to serve his needs. They were there to serve the wolves, to provide food and labor. Under his rule their lives were filled with fear and subjugation. His ambition knew no bounds. He sought to expand his territory and influence, driven by an insatiable hunger for power.
He built a massive fortress, a monument to his power. It stood as a testament to his dominance and unyielding will. From this stronghold he directed his forces, launching attacks on neighboring lands. His reach extended far and wide. The sheep, taken by surprise, were ill-prepared for the wolves' ferocity. They had never faced such relentless aggression. Their attempts at defense were quickly crushed. The wolves' superior strength and strategy left them no chance. Those who survived were enslaved. Their freedom was stripped away, replaced by chains and endless labor. Forced to work in the fields, to shear their own wool for their new masters, they lived in fear. Their days were filled with toil and despair. The wolves, drunk on power, grew crueler. The other animals despaired, their hope dwindling with each passing day. Their world, once peaceful, was now shrouded in darkness. The Iron Paw's reign had cast a long, unending shadow over the land.
Hope, however, is a stubborn thing. It flickers even in the darkest of times. In the hearts of the oppressed, a spark of defiance ignited. They had known peace once, and they yearned for it again. The sheep, though seemingly docile, possessed a quiet strength. In hushed tones, under the cover of night, they began to meet. At first it was just a few, sharing stories of courage, whispering dreams of freedom.
"We are stronger together," he would say, his voice a low rumble.
Words spread slowly, carefully. Other animals, emboldened by the sheep's courage, joined the cause. Rabbits, with their network of burrows, became messengers. Birds, soaring high above the wolf patrols, acted as lookouts. A sense of purpose, of shared destiny, began to bind them together. The whispers of rebellion grew louder. carried on the wind a promise of change. The animals knew the path ahead would be fraught with danger, but they also knew they had something worth fighting for: their freedom. The time for whispers had passed. The forest, once a place of quiet murmurs and secret meetings, now buzzed with a palpable tension. The air was thick with anticipation. The iron paw, arrogant and complacent, had grown blind to the growing discontent. His overconfidence was his greatest weakness, a flaw that would soon be exploited. He mistook their silence for submission. He underestimated their resolve. The animals, however, had been planning, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The animals chose the day of the annual feast, when the wolves would be drunk on stolen wine and roasted meat. It was a day of revelry for the wolves, but for the other animals it was a day of reckoning. The signal came at dawn, a single defiant bleat from Belar. It echoed through the valleys and hills, a call to arms that could not be ignored. Across the land the animals rose up. From the smallest rabbit to the mightiest stag, they united in a common cause.
Sheep, using their horns as battering rams, charged into unsuspecting wolves. Their bravery was unmatched, their determination unyielding. Rabbits, nimble and quick, darted between their legs, tripping them up. Their agility turned the tide in many skirmishes. Birds swooped from the sky, their beaks and talons sharp weapons. They attacked with precision, striking fear into the hearts of the wolves.
The wolves, caught off guard, fought back with savage fury. Their snarls and growls filled the air, but their confidence was shaken. But the element of surprise belonged to the rebels. They had the advantage, and they pressed it relentlessly. They fought with the desperation of those who had nothing left to lose. Every blow they struck was fueled by years of oppression and suffering. The battle raged throughout the day, a chaotic mix of fury and fear. The ground shook with the force of their clashes, and the air was thick with the sounds of combat. By nightfall, the tide had turned. The once dominant wolves were now on the defensive, their ranks thinning. The ground was littered with the bodies of wolves and animals alike. The cost of freedom was high, but the animals were undeterred. The iron paw, his eyes blazing with rage, fell to Belar's horns. His reign of terror was over. His tyranny ended. His reign of terror was over. The forest, once under his iron grip, was now free. The animals, exhausted but victorious, gathered in the main square. Their faces, though weary, shone with a newfound hope. A cheer filled with relief and hope rose into the night sky. It was a sound of triumph, a declaration of their newfound freedom. They had won their freedom. The forest, once a place of fear, was now a sanctuary of hope and unity.